Yeah,
Hello,
yes,
sir.
Jaswant sir. Yes, Jaswant sir.
If,
Are you able to hear us?
yeah, I'm able to hear you, but the point is, I've joined through my mobile right now because my system got stuck. Okay. So what I will do is, I'm trying to restart my system. In case, I get connected on my system, definitely I'll just switch over to my system, right? That's something which I wanted to share before in that. I didn't want to waste time. That's the reason I connected on my
No issues, sir.
phone.
No issues. No issues.
I'm just trying to, because the presentation is over there. So that's the whole point. So I'm just trying to see if it can be given.
I think, sir, you
Okay.
please take your time. In the meantime, we'll just start the formal session here. It will take 2-3 minutes. In the meantime, I hope you have your system restarted by the time.
Yeah, exactly. So just give me a minute.
Hi, Jaswant, Ramki here. Welcome. I think we have enough time because Ramnath will be introducing you. I think that will take some time, and
Exactly.
subsequently, I think you can start with your own pitch, probably with the title slide or something, which may not require the title slide to be displayed. I'm sure by the time your laptop would be up. So I think we can start. That's what I feel. Anyway, once again,
Sure,
thanks for coming in. Yeah.
sure. Thanks, Ramki. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
A
Dr.
very good
Manoj,
morning.
over
Yeah,
to you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ramji. A very good morning to all of you once again. I welcome you all to the day 4 of our strategic development program on design thinking. It is our session, and we privileged to have our second industry expert, Mr. Jaswant Sarnathi ji. And just to hear more about him, I would request Ramnath ji to please come in and share his brief bio with all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Manoj. Thanks, Mr. Jaswant, on behalf of all of us present here. I'll kind of take a few moments to introduce you to all the participants here. So, Jaswant is the head of learning, talent management, and organizational development at Kevin Care, a leading FMCG conglomerate that has interest spanning from shampoos to salon. He has over a decade of industry experience in different facets of operation as well as human resources with leading Indian and global multinationals such as SR, Mahindra, and MRF. His notable projects include the conceptualization and development of a corporate university, interestingly, corporate university for Mahindra, and driving the digital learning and talent management process in MRF. He is presently working towards building organizational capability and achieving the goal of his current organization, that's Kevin Care. Also, he was a part of NHRD, Chennai Chapter Youth Council, for about 2 years, where he drove the chapter's social media presence. He was also an associate editor of Politico Nation, a Uttar Pradesh-based political magazine, for about 2 years. Speaking about Mr. Jaswant's academic profile, Jaswant is a postgraduate in business management from SOIL, that's School of Inspired Leadership, Gurgaon. And Jaswant also holds a mechanical engineering from Coimbator's reputed Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Amrita University, as we all familiar with. So, with this, I'll formally hand it over to Jaswant and wait for the system get kickstarted. Or in case by the time system reboots, Mr. Jaswant may want to just have a chat or interaction, probably he can proceed. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as usual, the technology gives up whenever it needs to be ready. It just gives up. So that's what happened in my case as well. So I'm waiting for my system to be rebooted. So so I just wanted to share my presentation before I start. But nevertheless, we'll go ahead as Ramnath said. We'll possibly have a discussion around before I start as well. So firstly, I'm so glad to be part of this because it's very humbling to be in front of a lot of faculties over here because I heard I learned from Ramki that we have close to 100 odd faculties from CV Raman University from Odisha, so which is really a great feat for me in terms of like delivering something which is very important for the people who are actually crafting the future of our country, right? So that's very important. So, firstly, a salute to all of you because you're trying to do the best to make sure that the future of our country is intact and is kind of is in its own pace. Okay, that's something which I wanted to laud you on. Second important thing which I wanted to share is. Which I wanted to laud you all is it's very, very heartening to see you all being part of a design thinking course because not many institutes across the organization have still understood or revert the importance of what design thinking can do in their education space. Most of the corporates have been catching up with the design thinking arena, but of course the educational sector is a bit behind in terms of like catching up with the design thinking. But it's really heartening to see institute of your caliber coming in front and saying that, okay, boss, listen, we have to brace up ourselves with the design thinking. I think that itself is a great feat, and in bringing up to the speed of what corporate world is requiring. So kudos on that front. In terms of making sure that you're catching up with the corporate world, because corporate world itself is catching up with the design thinking culture only now. So a lot of organizations are tying up with consultancies like School of Design Thinking to make sure they are abreast of what design thinking is. And of course, understanding what it can do for their business apart from their product development or research and development. So it has a various advantages of making sure the business runs in a very, very right way. And of course, very glad to see institute of your caliber also catching up with the speed of the corporate. So now coming on to the course. What I need is in the meantime I start the session. What I want you guys to do is, if is it, I want all of you to, open something on your mobile called www.menti.com. Okay, I'm just going to type. I had this as part of my presentation, but unfortunately, I'm still trying to open it up. So what you can do is just type www.menti.com.
MENTEE, right?
Yeah, just type that.
No, it is menti.com.
Yeah,
Menti.com.
MENT, yeah, menti.com. That's right. Okay, I'll give you the code as well. Unfortunately, I forgot the code, so the system has to open. 1 minute. It has just opened up, so I'm sure it should work right now.
Take your time, sir. No delay.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate on your patience.
And just to inform you that though we are privileged to organize this design thinking faculty development program as a CV Raman Global University Bhubaneswar, but we have a pan India participation. So you are actually interacting with faculty members from almost all the part of our country. So
Oh, nice. That's really great.
joining every I'm pretty sure by the time you start, we will also having hundreds of participants coming. Thank you so much.
Nice. Very nice to know that actually. The point is we use MS Teams, and Cisco WebEx is something pretty new for us. So though I've downloaded it, it showed some sign of resistance. So I had to switch off, switch on. So all those natak has been happening almost for 10 minutes. Yeah.
That's Murphy's laws, right? What is about to go wrong, it will go wrong, but it goes wrong at the unwanted moment.
Exactly. That happens. So this is how we manage a crisis, these are the crises of today's generation. Like making sure the systems work whenever it doesn't.
And in the meantime, probably I'll take this opportunity also to share about our experience with Kevin Kerr. So Kevin Kerr
Yeah,
has
please
been
go.
one of hey Kevin, thanks just one. So Kevin Kerr has been one of our dear close to heart, the dearest of the clientele that School of Design Thinking we have, and we also had the fortune and an opportunity to actually have Mr. C.K. Ranganathan, the chairman and managing director. Please correct me if my designation is correct. His designation is correct. The chairman and managing director of Kevin Care, along with his team, coming to the design center and kind of heading hands on design thinking, and how can design thinking become as a part of a culture of Kevin Care. Once the team, including Mrs. CK, also found tremendous value in it, then we closely worked with the HR and L&D Jaswant's team there, and we had more than three delegations of workshops, specific workshop for them, where their subject matter expert, people from their operations, people from their brand managers, and multidisciplinary teams, we all participated. So we have a good and great relationship with Kevin Care, and Kevin Care has been one of the early adopters of, if I were to call, of design thinking, and actually not adopters, actually applying it into their field.
Ramnath, if I can just add one more point of what Dr. Anbu said at very outset. If you recollect, he gave this anecdote of how the chairman had actually spoken to an auto driver. The idea of chick shampoo.
Please, Ram.
So just to bring to the attention of our audience, that there was this very interesting story of how C.K. Ranganathan sir was traveling by auto along the streets of Chennai when he was in a discussion with the auto driver, and the auto driver, and I assume seeing the unkempt hair of the auto driver, he good naturedly asked the auto driver as to, why doesn't he use a shampoo or something on those lines. And the auto driver told him that, sir, we would definitely would like to, but unfortunately all the shampoo bottles cost excess of 50-60 rupees, and at this point in time I cannot afford that, so I just use a basic shampoo, Lifebuoy, or one of those good old soaps that we had in those days. And that's what got him that's what triggered his attention, got him thinking that, hey, okay, this is an opportunity. Why should shampoos be packaged only for those people who can afford it? Why not for the common man, for people who can just afford probably 50 paisa? Now it is 1 rupee, 2 rupee, but I'm sure when it was introduced, it was probably 25 paisa or 50 paisa, right? Over 10-15 years ago. So that is a brilliant example of empathy, of observation, of dialoguing, right? It wasn't a debate again saying, no, you should invest some money to get a bigger bottle of shampoo. He understood that, yes, there's an opportunity here. And they are the first people to come up with this concept in the country. A big hit, a wonderful hit. And today, after this pandemic came into play, we now see Chick shampoo, and we see the brand coming up with the same idea of sachet hand sanitizers. Brilliant example. Again, for those people who cannot afford bottles of, hand sanitizers that cost probably 60, 70, even 100 rupees or more.
True. Absolutely true.
And yesterday, I do recollect, thanks Ram for bringing yesterday, I do recollect giving this as an example. And I might have kind of given this an example with a twist of, in marketing terms, what Kevin Kerr did is nothing but that's an outcome.
Absolutely.
With the chairman and managing director, CKR got from an we may never know a great insight light. That's why it is very important we have listening, dialogue, and observation with our users or probable users.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So, Dr. Manoj, I see Jashwant exiting here. Probably he might from the laptop.
Yeah. We'll wait for him. No issues.
Yeah.
So I've joined. So Ramnath, can you give me the access to share the presentation? I'm not able to. I don't have the
Okay.
access
I'll
to
do
share
that.
the presentation.
I think.
Manoj,
Sorry. I think you were 101270. Oh, sorry. I think
yes.
someone
Yeah,
else
that's
has
right.
joined my meeting. You are that. Okay. No issue. I will make you the presenter. Now you can do that, sir. Now, please go ahead.
Okay, so the uh, code.
Jashwant, you can type it in the chat box so that it becomes easy for others to get it.
I will do that. I will do that. Yes. No, in fact, I'm showing the presentation. Just a minute. It should. So. Confirm if the screen is visible.
It is in process. So it comes, we are seeing a message starting to share.
No, sir. No, we are still waiting for it.
Okay.
Not yet. Yes.
So I think if you're facing and bend,
Yeah,
now
it's
we can
coming
see
up.
that. Now
Yeah.
we can see that.
Okay, great. Firstly, thank you so much, and I appreciate for waiting, until I get to this extent. A very unfortunate technological error which has happened. So I think without wasting much of time, so let me get into the presentation. Okay, before we get into it, let's make it very very interactive, and of course, I'm sure day two of design thinking, Ramnath, or day three.
This is day 4.
Great. So I think in 3 days, I'm sure most of you would have understood the culture of SODT. So I'm going to follow the same, pitch over here. So I want it to be more and more interactive. I want you to, also get back to me. I want all the participants to speak to me as much as possible. So let it be more interactive. There are two advantages of it. One is you learn, and second is I also learn out of it. Because ultimately, there are 100 odd people over here. I'm the only person. So there's going to be 100 odd learnings for me. Just like how you have 100 odd people over here who from which you learn. Let's get on to an interactive session. So can any one of you guess what this is all about? Any
Circuits. Circuits.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for being the first batsman. Sorry. Okay. Fiber. Okay. Anything else?
So you can also go through the chat box also. Some answers are coming in the chat box.
I know. I'm just taking a look at it. I'm also getting to the chat box.
Someone has written the Zumber.
I know, I saw that. Okay. I also depicting picture or something like that. That was also there. Okay. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time. Okay. So friends, IoT circuit. Some lightning in the building. Okay, a lot of interesting stuff. I think design thinking is working out a lot over there. So this is a Sycamore, a quantum computer that Google has spent number of years developing this. Okay, so Google has told they've achieved quantum supremacy after taking 200 seconds to solve a very complex problem, which the present supercomputer of today will take how much of time? Can any one of you guess? You can.
I think 2 days of time.
Sorry.
2 days of time. 2 days of time.
Okay, great. Any other answer?
30 years.
Sorry, 30 years.
30.
Okay, 30 years, Manigandan. Thank you so much. Any other guesses? easy when you Google, but I don't want that to happen. Any other?
Actually, I got locked out
10.
accidentally. Could you please repeat the question?
So Sycamore is a quantum computer that Google has developed, over several years. Okay, so it is claimed, it has achieved the quantum supremacy. Because it says that it takes 200 seconds. This particular machine, which is at the left-hand side of the system, takes 200 seconds to solve a very complex problem, which otherwise today's supercomputer takes how much of time? That was a question. A lot of people said 30 years, few milliseconds, and a lot of things, but the answer is 10,000 years. So, so the present supercomputer, whichever we have at present in the whole world, takes 10,000 years to solve the particular problem, which otherwise this particular computer, which is developed by Google, takes only 200 seconds. So, my friends, what I wanted to say here is, we are in such a fast-paced world, where the world, western part of our world is developing something which is quite different than what we are thinking and what we are processing right now. Imagine where we are. 10,000 years. It takes 10,000 years to solve a problem for which that computer takes only 200 seconds. Imagine the capacity of the computer. Imagine the brains which have gone inside the computer. You science engineer or IT engineer, or for that matter, only electrical electronics this. Definitely not. It needs multidisciplinary thinking and multidisciplinary thought, and it needs various thoughts behind it. You never know, people from various backgrounds, even with respect to arts, with respect to with respect to any kind of disciplinary would have been part of this for designing the user experience or user interface. Maybe you never know a person from part of this. You do not know. That's the evolution what we are seeing with respect to systems and processes somewhere outside the world of our country all put together. That's the that's the whole point which I wanted to share before we start. Again, let me get into the finer aspect of the business. Okay, so it's been almost a decade.
May I request all other participants to please give yourself in mute mode? Sir, what I will do, I will mute all and you can unmute yourself after that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Further, so we saw something at the global level, right? Which is how a computer of that caliber is being developed. Now let's get into a little inner space of our business. Okay, so India in FY20 budget, so roughly a year back, or so roughly a year back, February 2019, our finance minister projected, what was the budget projection given by our finance minister? Any guesses? Growth. Any guesses? Sorry.
2.3 lakhs crores.
Okay, great. So, this was the projection which was given, saying, like we will reach $5 trillion economy by 2024. That was given. But what really happened? With what all we will reach, that also was planned very well. They said we'll spend close to 83,000 crores on roads, 19,000 crores on Gram Sadak Yojana, 75,000 crores on Kisan, that is agriculture, so on and so forth. A lot of things were planned. Saying that we'll reach to this level of $5 trillion, right? That was done. But what really happened? IMF slashes India's FY21's growth forecast by 120 bps to 5.8, and at present the numbers are already out, and we are almost decelerating in terms of growth, which means we are in minus 7.2% growth or something of that sort. So what does this mean? It basically means volatility is killing everybody's dream, right? So I'm sure CV Raman, Global University also would have had some dream before the COVID started, saying we should have this many placements, there should be the highest salary, there should be the median salary, this should be the intake of the people, this should be the income of our organization. A lot of things would have been there, but volatility has killed a lot of dreams, right? Including yours, including mine, including personal you and personal me as well. I would have dreamt of hiring a home, constructing home. I would have stopped because there are a lot of uncertainty with my job, that's there across the globe, right? So we would have said, okay, let me stop everything. Let me just think of the basics of roti kapda makan, and then finally go ahead only when everything. So volatility is completely everybody's dream, right? Important thing what I wanted to share before I get into the education space is the middle class people were about to surge. That was the prediction which was done. So the bottom of the pyramid, which was almost pretty wider, was getting to be shrunk, and the belly of the pyramid was going to be enlarged. So it would look something like the belly of the would look large, and the bottom of the pyramid would be shrunk. Okay, that's what happens. So it will look something like this, where 50% of the world population will be in the middle class, only 23% of the population will be in the the bottom most population, which is roughly 2 billion or something like that. But what really happened in our country? India is a country of contradictions. Average consumer spending, by people in India fell, to rupees 2,000. 146, sorry, 1,446 in FY 2018, from rupees to 1,501, which means you and me, okay, each of us, on an average, Indian spends, on consumer spending is rupees 1,501, which means for your soap, for your cream, for your, everything, the basic items, the FMCG consumer spending has fallen down from 1,500 to 1,446 rupees in FY 2018. Now imagine what will be the spate in FY 2021. Definitely it will be far lesser than even 1,446, right? It's going to be that bad. So what does that mean? It basically means uncertainty is the only certain thing in this world, right? Next is Sensex hits high when the US Fed rate cuts. What is the connection between Sensex and US Fed rate? Why should Sensex react because of US cutting the federal rate for their consumers, their population, things like that? There's no connection, right? Similarly, emission in Gurgaon or Delhi, or for that matter in Chennai or Odisha, is affecting Arctic ice sheets in somewhere the far west end of the globe. We are somewhere at the far east at the globe. They are somewhere at the far west of the globe, and emission over here in Odisha, or for that matter in Tamil Nadu, is affecting Arctic sheets over there, right? And trade war between China and US is showstopper for the global economy, which means even today in the news, I saw Hyundai, which is a very famous car company. They're saying that let's stop all the actions in China, for any kind of car manufacturing, and we want to plan shifting the whole manufacturing to India and Vietnam. That's what they've told. So why is the world reacting to the trade war between US and China? So what is really happening? So no more simplicity. Okay, before nobody was connected to each other. It was more of a only India used to take care of Indian population's thoughts, needs, and everything. Now that's not globalization has created a lot of complexity, and this complexity is not going to be resolved at all. So no more simplicity. Complexity is only is going to live forever, and it's not going to get resolved. Now this is important. An institution of your size and caliber. Corporate world in India is in the cusp of digital transformation. We're all looking at 4.0, which is digitalization, right? That's what we're looking at, because, for example, Modi ji has said that the digital payment hona chahiye, where every payment should happen only through ATMs and UPIs and things like that, and no more cashes. A lot of strive has gone towards making sure digitalization happens right from the roots of our country. Okay, that's what is being expected. Consumption of steel is at 61 kg, whereas globally it is at 208 kg. Steel is a very primary commodity which defines the economic strength of our country. And 61 being dismally low, we are yet to grow to a level of wherever we have to grow. And our country has 22 cars per 1,000 people, which means we are 100 people over here. Only 2.2 cars are available between us. That's what is the statistics which means if you take 100,000 population across various dissections of the structure of our country, you'll see only 22 cars in 1,000 people, which means you still have 800 so close to some 778 cars which is still pending to reach to the level of whatever we have to reach of 100% consumption of cars. So imagine the potential of growth in our country. Whereas US is 838 and China is 172. And how dare are we comparing with China, with all parameters of economics? So definitely not a right space, right? Next is, the other 28% of them are still in the poverty line. So what does this say? Ambiguity is quite obvious. That's the only thing which is quite obvious, because rest all seems to be not at all obvious, right? So why am I telling this, fall to an institution like yours? The reason is because we're all living in a UCA world. That's what I'm trying to say. We are, precisely living in a UCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Henceforth, complete business also should be ready to face the UCA world, which means institutes of your caliber, your size should deliver the talents to organizations like us, or to intellect design, or anybody for that matter, who is ready to face the UCA world. So how are institutes of your caliber, or your sheer size, how does it ready children for making sure they become part of the UCA world? They're ready to face the UCA world. That is something which is very, very important, my friends. So this is the fair beginning, and a very, very factual beginning I want to give to make you understand that we are getting into a various multidisciplinary field of evolutionary growth of institution. So what I need to do is, I know somebody asked me what is .com. So what you need to do is go to okay, I'm going to stop here for a minute before I go ahead. Is there any question? I'm going to pause here for any question, clarifications before I go to the next section of the presentation.
Yeah, this is Dr. Yogesh.
Yeah, as in your slide somewhere you showed that because of the pollution in Guregaon, the Arctic ice is melting. But my question is, Guregaon came into existing only maybe 15-20 years. What about the damage done by US and China?
Your parlance saying that if emission of your car is affecting Arctic ice sheet over there. So I'm not here US mein hua, so we should also do it. That's not the case over here. I'm just trying to connect, saying how complex are we living? Sorry, how complex world are we living in? That's what I'm trying to portray, Professor. I completely appreciate your thought. They've already done the damage. We are adding on to the damage. I'm not denying that part. I'm only saying, what kind of complex world are we living in? I understand that Gurgaon would have come only like past 50 years since Robert Vadra came in. But of course, like a lot of it has happened before that, but we are also adding fuel to that. That's the thought. So it's just a complex world we're living in, Professor.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, great. So any other questions?
Sir, please repeat. Sir, please tell me the full form of UCA.
Volatile. V stands for volatile. U stands for uncertain. C stands for complex, and A stands for ambiguous.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sarita. no more questions, I'm going ahead. So what I need to do is let's get into the crux of the presentation. I gave these previous insights, to make sure the colleges of yours, gets aligned where the world is. That's why I gave those pictures. Now I'm getting into the crux of the presentation, which is so get onto the mentee.com, so mentee.com, and use this code 21665 and type whatever you feel is is the challenges you're facing or you think is in the higher education. To mentee.com. I think the screen shared.
Yes, it is shared.
Okay, great. So you can see that, right? So go to mentee.com. Use the code 21665. 1 minute. Okay, I'm just typing one. One minute. On the chat as well. Check if it is working because I heard from, yeah, so it's coming. Okay, great, it's working. Thank you. Okay, great. So poverty, diversity, selfish. Okay. Focus on marks, change in market, rate, skills, curriculum. Impractical. I need all of you to type, because then what happens is it becomes a little more interesting to note. Of students, very, very right. Multi skills again. Very. Everybody. Great. So no is coming. Skills is also coming as a repeated word by many of you.
We are around 100. We should say 100 words, please.
I think many of your participants are writing in chat box. Please go to this website and type it there.
Please.
You need to go to mentee.com and use the whichever I've put on the chat, and you feed whatever you feel as the Okay, great. So let me not further waste time. I think these are the words which has come out quite evidently, right? One, employability skills, which means me being being an institute of this sort, we're not able to create students or craft students who are employable enough. absolutely right. No interest in the subject, which means the subject, whatever I teach, or subject whichever they choose, is kind of becoming, not really of interest. That is the second thing which comes out. The third thing is very, very impractical in nature, which means whatever we teach is not really practical in nature. That's what is coming up as the next thing. Of course, online education is a problem right now, I understand, but that's a very temporary problem. Let's not really concentrate on that, because that as soon as the jabs are ready, of course, we will get back to the normal of going to the colleges, sitting on the benches, and of course we will also be teaching to the students directly, right? So these are the important innovation is also another thing which has come out very, very very, very unique, very evidently. So Ramnath, can you confirm if you're able to see the word cloud?
Yes, we can.
So I'm sure everybody is able to see this. So this is your creation. So I did not say anything. You wrote. This is what you have given as part of the challenges which you are facing as part of higher education in India. So this is nothing. I have not done anything. Nothing has come from my mind, my heart, or anything. So everything was given by you, saying these are the challenges which we are facing. So incidentally, my presentation ahead is going to be also in a similar line of thought as well, right? 1 minute. Okay. So before we again, another question: who are your customers? Can I understand who are your? Because we understand curriculum for people, we need to understand who are your customers, right? So can you? I'm sure Ramnath, they've gone through personas, right? So any idea who are your customers? Students, okay. Students, companies who will hire. Very correct. Super. But yeah, so like what you said, your customers are basically students and companies, right? Students basically who pay your fees so that you run the institutions and also learn from you, right? That itself is there. And companies, of course, people who come and hire from your organization, right? So these two set of customers. See, I also Mr. 1 minute. Yes, Dr. Vedantam writing that society as a whole. No doubt, society as a whole is a customer of yours, but the top two contenders of who are your customers are basically students, and of course your companies which comes and hires. So absolutely these two stands. Anything else, right? So now that you've gone through the personas of personas, can you guess what is the persona difference you're seeing from what is the persona difference in the students? Okay, let's take the students part of it. What is the persona difference you're looking at the students from when you were a student to when the present student of whatever whoever you're teaching as of now? Any differences you're seeing personas? Which background do they come from? What kind of studies do they do and come from? Any ideas?
Feel free to come in here. Any participant can unmute and come in here.
Yeah, Dr. Sunita has written.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. The current students, the expectations are high because they are coming from all the backgrounds. So expectations in terms of the content and the principles what we inculcate. Because as a student, when I was there, whatever our faculty or the teachers or the professors were teaching, we used to listen to that because we used to feel. But now the students are more target oriented. Okay, that is one thing. Practicality they are looking into more. This is what I think. Application point of view also they are taking into consideration. So that's how we should teach. That's what I feel.
Great.
On my version, every student, whichever background he comes from, he has a thirst for which has to be quenched, first one. Secondly, what he will get after he gets that knowledge is the application, as the ma'am has told.
Thank you, Dr. Balachandar. Thank you. Any other? Any difference in the personas of students who are incoming these days?
One participant, Kedara Gauri, has written an interesting perspective about rural versus urban.
Hello, sir.
Miss
So this is my where the people come, the students come from different backgrounds, whereas the rural and urban. So the person who comes from rural background, they usually have the financial background, which is they might be poor, so they might be staying in a hostel or some relatives' place. So they have to go through all kinds of financial situations and they have to cope up with it. So more of it, they will be looking for a job, quick job and fast money. So the more of the focus will be on getting the job very soon. So rather than focusing on the subject, they will be like, what are the opportunities that I can get this job very fast? So I have to get through the examination. So this rote learning process will kick in there, where they mug up and go to the exam and just put it there. So that's one of the thing. And the second thing is that when you are focusing on the private, more of it, the interview will focus on if you are an extrovert or introvert or ambivert. So during that kind of a situation, they will be like, I am an extrovert, but what if I say it? I don't get this job. So they procure themselves or they make themselves overcome that situation, and they say I'm an extrovert. So they start to behave in a strange way, what they are not usually are, and they kind of put themselves out into the situation. They behave in a different way. That's where I'm coming from, sir.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Kedara. Thank you. Okay, I'm getting into the yeah.
Sir, in our country is a human resource for the world, right? Yeah, in this case, we can study about the requirement of the human society throughout the world.
Okay.
Accordingly, you can fix for who is the customer.
Okay. So, see, of course, like what many of you commented, like what Ms. Kedara did share in terms of how are they fast paced in terms of like making sure the money is acquired much more earlier than what most of you did and most of us did, or there could be of coming customer to college. Okay, this is the difference what I saw. Okay, previously people used to come only from these two boards, right? One is CBSE and second is state board, right? Predominantly people used to come from this board. But can you guess what are the different boards right now available for kids of these days? Anybody can guess?
ICSE board is also there.
ICSE, CBSE, state.
Correct. ICSE is there. Any other boards? IB, yeah, very right. Kokil Raj, thank you.
Even the diploma holders comes.
Diploma holders come. Yeah, that was there. State board or so they would have come from either state board or CBSE, right? But these days, people do not only come from state board or CBSE. The persona has completely shifted, right? So they come from, say, IGCSE. IGCSE is a UK board. ICSE is India's central state again. Montessori. I'm sure most of you would have heard of Montessori, right? Montessori, there's something called Waldorf again. So that again is another kind of education. Then we have Krishnamurti Foundation. Then we have IB. So there are a lot of these kind of students who are now coming out of schools and they will be looking at higher education. Okay. Now there are vital difference between each of those things. CBSE and state board, a very usual boards of student education or higher secondary education generally concentrated on science, physics, math and biology to make sure they either get into very mainstream fields like engineering, doctor or something like that. But other evolved boards like Montessori, Waldorf, or Krishnamurti Foundation, or in IB or IGCSE, these are all there in the in the evolved countries like Europe, UK, and US, where children have studied and they've come out of these kind of boards with a flourishing colors. They do not concentrate only on engineering and only on only on say only on doctor or something of that. They want to become anything they want to become. For example, my daughter, I've enrolled my daughter into something called Waldorf curriculum. This is nothing to do with fees, nothing to do with that. In fact, fees is far lesser than CBSE schools. I'm telling you, to be very frank. But the way they teach is completely different. The way they teach math is using theater. The way they teach science is using dance. The way they teach physics is using drawing. That is how the curriculum is all about. So my daughter, who is just 4.5 years old, can speak almost 4 languages. She draws everything. She knows what different shapes are without understanding or without going through physics and math and science. That is the beauty of these kind of curriculums. Now, my friends, what I'm trying to say here is the persona of who your customers are going to shift from only from CBSE and state board to these kind of customers as well, these kind of students as well, who are going to evolve out of these kind of very alternate educations, which is going to come into your colleges, who will expect a very different and a very unique kind of education system. The very, very usual way of education system is not going to work. A lot of these people, that is why they choose to go to abroad to study rather than studying in India, because the way higher education teaches is not very friendly for other curriculums. You may think that the other, except for CBSE and state board, the percentage is very less. But I'm telling you, my friends, the percentage is now growing far, far, far much better. Insights disposable income. For example, my father had 2 kids, so he could afford for 2 kids, but I have only 1 kid, so I'm affording what my father afforded for 2 kids. I'm affording for 1 kid. So that obviously the income is fairly higher for this generation people. Obviously, we are affording such kind of educations. That's first thing. Second thing, we are daring to take risks. Because we don't want, for example, I always wanted to become a chef in a hotel, but of course, with a lot of pressure from community, from my parents, I was put into mechanical engineering. I studied engineering, and then I did an MBA. Now I'm HR in a famous organization. So said is said, right? But I always wanted to become, I wished for, but I never became. But that I'm not going to do for my daughter. I'm sure that will happen for all of your kids as well, right? You will always think, yaar, like हमारी मर्जी से हमको नहीं हुआ. At least let us make our children do what they want to do. That's the trend which is growing right now. Okay, so that is something which is changing very rapidly. So we are wishing to be very child-centric, which is so these curriculums, Montessori or Waldorf or Krishnamurti Foundation, IGCSE, IB, all these things are very, very child-centric curriculums, which says that like for example, my daughter tomorrow wants to become a potter. Okay, a potter, she will become a potter. I'm not going to say no. You want to become, you have to become a mechanical engineer. You have to this money. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, oh, go ahead, do become a potter. Then she's going to make pots and she's going to sell. She's going to become an entrepreneur. She may not earn as great as me, but she'll be much happier than me. That is the trend which is going to come right now. Again, my friends, I'm not saying that you should become ready at this point of time, but the future is this. You will have to grow to this level to make sure these kind of, for example, my daughter is going to get into a college roughly 10 years later, right? 10 years later, CV Raman Global University should be ready to take in children of my children of my daughters, kind of a thing, who are wishing to do something different to the to our country. That's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to stress over here is, I'm not trying to give a bhashan here saying, my daughter is finding difficult to find a college here. What I'm trying to say is, the persona is changing from, say, only from a CBSE state board to a different curriculum, a very child-centric curriculum, which our country is also readily accepting. For example, the NEP, the National Education Policy 2020, absolutely agrees to all the alternate educations across the India, if you remember very well. So that is very, very important, my friends. So the institutes of your caliber, your stature, should start emphasizing on multidisciplinary, to make sure how these kind of students also find a space in famous institutes of your your college as well. So now that we saw student persona, now let's get into the next customer angle, okay, which is the corporate reality. Okay, now these are the trends. These are the emerging job roles, emerging job roles by 2022. The first one is data analyst and scientist. So do we, Dr. Manoj, do we have the placement officer also part of this?
So we don't have any specific information, but probably we have.
Okay, great.
Directly to those processes. Normally have one representative as a faculty in those forums and all.
Okay, great.
Jaswant, Ramki here. Just wanted to tell you, the faculties are not restricted only to C.V. Raman Global University. C.V. Raman Global University is hosting this FDP. There are faculties from all across India, from various colleges, including arts and science. Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so sorry taking out only C.V. Raman Global. Then I'll have to change my stance then. Okay, great. So these are the emerging roles of the job landscape by 2020. Okay, the top 10 emerging job roles in our country, okay, or for that matter anywhere across the globe, is going to be data analyst and data scientist, artificial intelligence and machine learning specialist, general and operations manager, software and application developers, sales and marketing professionals, big data specialists, digital transformation specialists, new technology specialists, organization development specialists, technology services. Now, out of this, only 5 are the present higher education institutes offering as a course. Do you accept to this?
So when we are talking about these, so when we are talking about all these things, the primary objective behind this is the project management, where nowadays the PMP certification and Six Sigma is becoming more advanced. So there is no scope for project management here anywhere that I can see.
So that does not mean project management is not is going to get extinct. That's not the case, what I'm trying to say. So these are the top 10, which means it could be in the top 20, it could be in the top 50. I'm not sure about it. Okay, these are the top 10 roles which is going to be in demand, say by 2022. That's what it says. So what I'm trying to say here is your colleges, okay, are your colleges ready to make people ready for companies which are looking for these kind of roles? For example, somewhere I heard, if I'm not wrong, somewhere I heard, roughly 75% of the data scientist roles in the companies are vacant because we are not getting enough data scientists with a quality education as part of them. So that is the reality, my friends. So is your colleges ready to give the roles what are people like us, okay, corporates like us require? Okay. So that's the question which I'm putting in front of you. So you saw the student persona, which is seeing a landscape shift. You're seeing the job, landscape. Job landscape. A very broad shift from, for example, we were all making people ready for becoming operations engineer or IT engineer or computer science engineer or something of that, or electronics engineer, things like that. But do you see any of those things over here, except for 1 or 2, operations engineer, information technology engineer, and sales and marketing professional and software professional? So apart from this, rest all seems to be a very new not necessarily a new term, but a new role all put together for a college of colleges in our country, right? So what I'm trying to stress over here is colleges really bracing up themselves to make sure they're able to afford the supply chain, talent supply chain with these skills, so that the job landscape, they're ready to fetch to the job landscape. That's the point which I'm trying to say. We are not fairly ready. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So these are the change in skills and demands, which according to the World Economic Forum, which has come up. So I'm now getting into the next slide. Another aspect of what corporate world is expecting from the talents which are coming into which are coming into the corporates, right? So the future of our future of the corporate is going to be bionic in nature. Okay, what does bionic mean? So the Boston Consulting has told that in the 20s, in the next decade, that is from 2021 to 2030, the organization are going to be bionic in nature. What does bionic mean? Bionic means as both it is going to have an equal mixture of humans as well as technology, which is going to shape the outcomes of the organization, right? So you may question saying that we do not have technology right now, or we did not have tech. Yes, we had technology previously, no doubt about it. But the technology, the thrive on technology is going to be far more stronger than what we did last decade. That's what BCG is saying. So this is the bionic organization, which is humans and the technology is going to be, together going to give outcomes of whatever is required for the next decade. The first outcome which the humans are going to give are bionic operations, which is, for example, at the a very great example of our own organization. See, initially we had the bill processing, which was done. Everything was manually done. Okay, we used to get the bills from, for example, when we did a program for, through School of Design Thinking, we got the, invoice on a courier. It came to us. It landed onto my desk. Then from my desk, it went on to the, I raised a purchase order through SAP. It went on to the desk of the finance person for approval. Then my boss used to sign on the paper. Then it used to sign. Then after that, it used to go to the finance processing guy. He used to take 1 or 2 days to verify whether it is as per the budget, or whether it sits as per the whether it is right integrity wise. Everything he'll check. He or she will check, and then he'll process. It will take 1 more week to get the credit done. So Ramki knows about it because it took a lot of time for the credit to happen. But now what we have done is we have actually onboarded a process called PaySoft, which does not require any kind of any kind of offline movement at all. The vendors send the invoice to a particular email ID. Then I raise the PO for that as a process owner. Then the invoice gets approved on a click from my end. Then it goes to my boss. It gets clicked over there. He approves it, and then it goes to the finance end. He approves it, and then it goes to the the person who processes the bill, approves it, and the money gets credited. The time saved is immensely high, and of course the human resources whom we had hired for this kind of process have been upgraded. Upgraded for much higher level of working rather than this lower level of working. That's called the bionic operations. Okay, so before I go ahead, so Ramnath, please, because I don't want people to say anything just because I am going through something.
We have a hard stop at no. Normally stop out at 1 o'clock, but a few 5 minutes here and there, 5-10 minutes should not be a problem.
Okay, great. So that's good enough. So this is what my friends again is expectation from the corporate. So this is again a corporate reality check for all of you from all the institutes across. Should check: are we crafting people? Are we making our students ready to handle such kind of high-end operations, which is bionic operations? So that is something which is very, very important. So I'm going to stop here for a minute before I go ahead, to the next slide. Any questions, any clarifications before I go ahead?
You can please come in here. Anybody?
me go to the next slide. So these are a couple of facts which I pulled out from a couple of while I was developing the presentation for all of you. So the students, the customer facts. Okay, let me first concentrate on the student side. So the student side, the enrollment ratio for secondary school is 62%, whereas higher education it is only 25%, which means 75% of the outgoing secondary school people do not enroll into higher education, which means 75% of our population stops their education by 12th. That is what it is, right? And out of which the people enroll for arts and humanity, 17% enrolls for science, whereas 14% enrolls for engineering. I think this is really a healthy sign for our country. Definitely. 75% of people do not even get beyond 12th standard. So is there something wrong with, is there something wrong with the college, or is there something wrong with our own country? The question is void, which I don't have an answer. I'm sure all of you also do not have an answer. But of course, policies will change and will enable things to change. That's what is being expected. Now coming to while one of the facts from the incoming side to the college of yours, the corporates are saying that like bring to the job market every year. Okay, and out of which 75% of them lack general knowledge, soft skills, and even technical know-how. Okay, so into corporates like ours, they're actually useless. That's what they say. 75% of them are useless. That's what indirectly. I'm being very harsh over here, but that's the reality over here. Did anybody say something? Okay, so 75% of them lack basic anything, general knowledge or soft skill or technical know-how, which means they're not fit for anything when they come into the corporate setup. Which means everybody has 25%. Which means we should wait roughly 6 months of corporate stint of these graduate engineer, graduate anybody for that matter. Okay, I hear that voice is breaking. What I'll do is try to switch over to another internet connection.
There is no attach, no? कहाँ पे अपडेट किया उसने? When he had done.
Okay, is my voice clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go.
Okay, great. So I just connected to another network of in my home. Okay, so 75% of the engineers or anybody for that matter who gets out of the college and gets into the corporate world are of no use to the corporate world. That's the harsh reality. The next important fact which I wanted to share is 25% of engineers are only employable in a very large organization and in a very large setup in a very reputed organization like Kevin Caro for that matter, like Infosys or Wipro or anything for that matter. So that's the whole fact which I'm trying to share over here, right? So I'm going to stop here again for a minute. In case of any questions, any thoughts, I will be able to take it. Otherwise, we will be going ahead to the next set of this one.
So the question is how to reduce this particular gap, because yes, of course, you are right. The students 25% are high, and there is the companies. That means there is a difference. There is a curriculum gap is there. So how do you think it could be filled? How the void space should be filled between the education system the company needs?
Great. So my future slides are going to have that. Okay. Okay. So So I want to get into another aspect of, like how education spaces, higher education space is actually seeing a landscape shift. Okay, so I'm sure most of you would be knowing in Indian School of Business. Any other institutes anybody else is aware of? Anyone else knows Kriya University, which is there in Chennai? Anyone knows Srishti School of Art and Design, which is there in Bangalore? School of Inspired Leadership, where I graduated from in Delhi, Indian Institute of Crafts and Design in Jaipur, Ashoka University in Gurgaon, Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. So, do you see a lot of difference in these institutes? For example, let me take Kriya University. Okay, let me not tell about my college, which is School of Inspired Leadership. Kriya University has host of great eminent personalities as board of the board of the college. For example, we have people like Raghuram Rajan, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, who was an erstwhile economist, who is actually who is one of the member of the board, and it drives a lot of liberal arts courses rather than only engineering courses. So what I'm trying to say is we are seeing a landscape change in the trend of higher education as well. For example, the school where I graduated from, it is actually co-built with almost 32 consortium companies like Infosys, like Tata Steel, like Intellect Design, which is part of the School of Design Thinking. So the 32 consortium companies have come together and formed this management school called School of Inspired Leadership. It's because they're not finding good talents which are ready to the market, whom they can hire and they can start using them immediately on their revenue checks. So that is another alarm bell for all the institutes to make sure we craft our curriculums which is attracting enough corporates to hire them directly and put them directly on the revenue chairs, right? Okay. So now let's get on to while we saw two stakeholders, which is student and we saw what how the student and the corporates, what their realities or what their thought processes. Now let's really look into what government is doing in the higher education space. Okay, but before that, can you again get into www.menti.com and type the same thing, where there is a second a poll which I've given. So can you just go through that? Go to that. So I've asked the second question. So can you answer that question? I think the screen is visible. Who is Abhay Jere? Okay, the number is the same, whatever you used before. You have to just go poll. But I haven't got any answer. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, while many of you are still voting for it, yeah. So I think many of you know him. He is the Chief Innovation Officer of of Ministry of Education. Now, what really was curious to me was like what is this new role called Innovation Officer in Ministry of Education? Is government as government becomes so progressive that they're having somebody called innovation officer. And what is the background of Abhay Jire? Abhay Jire comes from a very very great background. His pedigree is quite good. He's a doctor of he's a PhD holder from Pune University. And he was working for persistent systems for close to, I'm not sure how many years, but he was before joining the Ministry of Education. He was working in persistent systems for quite a number of years, in the digital arena. Making sure he develops the products and of course serves the customers with persistent systems products and services. That's the background. You see what kind of diverse hiring which has happened in Government of India. Very very eye-opening, actually speaking. Very very happy and very very heartening to look at such kind of progressive thoughts coming as part of our government. So what I'm trying to say here is, even our government for that matter is changing a lot in terms of their thought process when it comes to education space. So let's very closely take a look at what are the things which government is doing. So as part of national education policy, it says that the gross enrollment ratio for higher education should be 50% by 2035, which is up by 25%. It is only 25% at present, so we need to up by 25%, right? That's the thing. And what are the salient features of national education policy? National education policy clearly says it will have a very flexible college affiliations, and it's going to be a 4-year bachelor's program for any to be preferred. You can exit and enter whenever you want to exit and enter with a certification done. And global universities should be tied up with the universities of our country, so that there is a lot of cross learning which happens between them and us. That's something which is there. And they're also taking a stand on affiliations, how how affiliations could be changed so that the autonomy can be given to a much higher degree. That is also taken a look at. So even government for that matter is working quite hard in terms of changing the landscape of higher education all put together. So they've also said that multidisciplinary education should come into the picture of of making sure the education in our youth in our in our country is ready to for a new a new job scenario all put together. So this is what government is doing. So the third thing what our government is doing is they are making sure inclusive learning is happening over there, which means for example, in maybe another 5 years or 10 years to go, you may have mentally challenged person also sitting and actually reading along with a normal child. That could be the scenario which might come in the future. That's how the world is evolving. That's how our country is evolving as well. You might find somebody who is physically challenged, who would be coming and sitting along with the kid next to the kid of yours, and also studying whatever the course of interest is all put together. So that could be the evolution of evolution of education, and that is how the policies are being derived by the government. Very recently, I saw something called Toycathon. I know I've always heard something called innovation, innovation, some many tons, like there were many things, but this is something very new. What is it, Toycathon? So what is government signaling to people like us and you? People are signaling that there is a profession in coming with toys, right? So what does that need? Do you need engineering degree for that? You may need an engineering degree. I'm not saying you may not need an engineering degree. You need much beyond engineering degrees, what I'm trying to say. You may need much beyond art degrees, what I'm trying to say. So when Government of India is ready to come on with such innovative things, imagine what institutes of your caliber should get ready with. That is what is very very important. So what should you do right now? So students are changing, corporates are changing, Government is also changing. Now, what should you do? That is what is the question which I'm asking. So, any thoughts? We still have 6 minutes, so I'm going to rush a little further. So let's now discuss how engineering degree is going to look like. So, engineering degree in the future is going to look like this. Okay, mandatory courses are going to be there. Along with, there are going to be 2 different options of degree 1 and degree option 2. Then there are going to be add-on certifications for them to add their credits of, say 12 to 13 credits, which will make up to say 200 credits or 300 credits. That's how it's going to work. So it's not going to be only mechanical engineering. For example, when a person gets into mechanical engineering, he will do core courses like thermodynamics. He will do core courses like fluid engineering, fluid mechanics, and things like that. Then the person is going to choose, I want to do management course. Okay, my option is to get to managerial side of manufacturing organization. So I'm going to take management courses as degree option 1, or for that matter, if I want to get to the technical field, I will get into say thermodynamics, thermal engineering, and other aspect of it. Then add-on certifications in the management side the person will do, so that the person gets the credit of whatever is required for the institute to offer the convocation certificate. That is what is going to happen. These are the 9 intelligence by Mark Whitton, right? So, Dr. I forgot the name. Sorry. So you had asked, what should we do to close the gap, right? This is what you need to do. You should attack all the 9 intelligence in your institutes to make sure corporates are ready to hire, ready to hire people, which is ready for the corporate world. Intrapersonal skill, which is understanding self. That is, I should understand first self-awareness. Yeah, Dr. Sunita, thank you so much. So these are the 9 intelligences which your institute should upgrade people with, so that they are ready for the corporate world. Spatial learning is visualizing 3D aspect of it. Naturalistic, making very sustainable living. Musical, understanding music in a very, very right way. For example, when I was in Mahindra, when I was giving engineering, when we hired people from engineering colleges, when we were giving the course on how do they have to adapt to the automobile engineering, I used music as a course to give them understanding of you should understand the texture of the car, how you should understand the the seat cover. Everything was given using musical thing, and similarly logical math is very, very important. Existential learning, that is also very, very important. Interpersonal, that is being along with the people is very, very important. And bodily kinesthetic, that is working on with our body, that is also very important. And linguistic, language skills. So these are the 9 important intelligences each of you in your colleges should start working on, so that people are ready and corporate ready, my friends. So this is a very important slide for all of you to note down. If required, I can give the slide to your your organizers, so that you can get the slide as well. So now what you can do, quickly is you can work on these 3 curriculums approaches. Okay, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. What is multidisciplinary? Multidisciplinary is nothing but which all of us are already your generation would not have seen, but definitely our generation saw. For example, we saw fluid mechanics and thermodynamics coming together, and we studied and we formed something called mechanical engineering. That is basically multidisciplinary, right? Interdisciplinary is nothing but for example, Philips is a company which develops a lot of bio equipments for your oxygen meter and things like that, right? So they do not need only mechanical engineers, they need mechanical engineers with biology background, right? This is interdisciplinary, right? Which means a mechanical engineer who has a flair for biology, only that person can get into a Philips kind of a company to develop ECG machines, who can develop your what do you say, ECG machines, and your many medical machineries. That is what is called interdisciplinary. Transdisciplinary means something like mechatronics, right? Mechatronics had come after combining with mechanical and electronic. But now what has happened is there is a separate topic which has come, robotics, right? That is transdisciplinary, which means it's a combination of multiple discipline and a new discipline itself, which is formed called robotics.
That is what is called as transdisciplinary. So, my friends, all your colleges should start concentrating on these three disciplinaries: multidisciplinary, like mechatronics; interdisciplinary, like how how companies like Philips, or for that matter many organizations are now getting into digital arena, how those kind of people will have a lot of it will not have only one learning, it will have more learning. Transdisciplinary is a very new learning itself: robotics, digital learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence. All these things are mixture of one or two things, so that a new discipline has come all put together, right? So other things what are very, very important in higher education is for a foreign collaboration and technology driven experiences. So I'm not going to get into the detail of it owing to the time. So what does this mean to the students? What are the advantages of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary? There are 6 various advantages. One is learning more in one shot. Right, students get to learn many things in one shot. Okay, they need not have to get into the 4 years to get into electronics, 4 years to get into mechanical. In 4 years they will do mechatronics and they will understand mechanical as well as electronics. That is mechatronics. Concentrated mentoring and coaching. So what happens is when these kind of concentrated courses come, obviously the number of people who take these courses are going to be limited, right? In an engineering college, for example, when I studied engineering, I had 120 people in one classroom, right? But now, as the diversity of courses increases, what happens? The concentration in the classroom goes very, very less, which means less number of student professor ratio will come in. So that will enable concentrated mentoring and coaching. That is what is going to happen. Next thing is critical thinking and problem solving. That is again 9 vital intelligence that comes part of that. Diversify interests and opportunities. I already specified that. And a very unique classroom experiences. For example, when you start using music to teach physics, okay, you will have very unique classroom experience. And by this, what you try doing is you the generation to the new jobs. You make them ready for job, or you make them job ready for the corporate world. So this is what I wanted to share. I think I've completed on time. I'm so sorry for the initial 10 minutes, delay from my end. So I'm so sorry about that. But otherwise, so this is what I wanted to share as part of, how multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, or for that matter, transdisciplinary, approaches is going to help all your institutes to fare much better and attract much better talents and attract much better corporates to hire from your institutes. So thank you so much for listening to me. Any questions, I can take it up. Any questions, any clarifications, any thoughts, any differing views, I'm ready to take it up.
Yeah, please feel free to come in here if you wish. So if you allow me, I just want to start with this. My feedback on is that what we are saying is which will be coming in 2022. How far? Second thing is that unless you anticipate that thing 4-5 years ago, you don't have a pool of faculty who will train this coming lot. So you can't ask now faculty will get trained, and by the time faculty is ready to create that pool, that whole trend has gone down. That should not. That is what the worry of a faculty like me is. Because I have seen in mid 90s or something, IT. Everybody was saying information technology. People have blindly opened streets in that, and after that, almost every college has to close that particular stream of engineering because they did not anticipate it. By the time they could have equipped with that, first of all, this knee-jerk reaction to this what is the changing trend should not be happen. It should look focused on employability, and it should able to develop learning ability in their student, because trend will change every 4-5 years. So you can't have coming back to college and learning a degree. You should be able to adapt to the changes in there, and he should be ready to adopt new things. And if we can develop that culture, and also if you have totally new things, transdisciplinary, then in advance you should be able to develop that pool of faculty first. Because by the time you do that, the train got missed. This is my observation being in this profession for last 15 or 16 years, because I'm seeing that trend many times coming in. Otherwise, your point is well taken, but again, blind rush is going on. I could see that people are blindly opening computer science engineering seats in my machine learning, artificial intelligence, and all these blah blah words. They don't have a pool of faculty members to train those guys, and by the time 4 years later, when they will come out in 2024 or 2025, I doubt whether we have such demand left at that time. So this is my point on this whole session. But I can
Absolutely
see
right.
the effort you have put, sir, the kind of effort you have put in creating your PPTs, and all. I could see that. Being a faculty, I really appreciate your effort, sir. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. No, absolutely, Dr. Manoj. I completely, stand with you in terms of, things are changing very fast, and it's becoming more of a knee-jerk reaction. See, that's why there are two things which is very, very important. One is, investing in yourself. Okay, you take any great entrepreneurs. Okay, they keep aside 1 hour for themselves to update themselves with today's trend. Okay, that is one thing which is very important. The second thing is, it is quite often you should get onto this kind of a forum with all the faculties like this in actually coming up with a design thinking aspect to check, how well can we conceptualize and come up with a new thought process. That is the beauty of design thinking all put together.
Yeah, Mr. Jaswant, this is Yogesh.
Yeah, please, doctor, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think on a lighter side, I think our current government will be very happy to listen to your presentation.
That's a great.
My question is this national education policy, when they are planning to implement, and if you can tell some of the drawbacks also.
No, see, I did a very, very, very basic research of education policy. In fact, after Mr. Ramki, approached me, I did a basic research on national education policy. I definitely did not do a thorough research. I did not go through the paper completely. Very, very primary research what I've done. But one thing I should appreciate our government is our government has opened their eyes finally. That's something which I'm really happy about, because it's very, very important, for them to realize that the generations ahead is not as slow as them. That is something which they've realized, and they're doing host of things whatever is possible from their end. So there could be failures. I'm not a very firm Modi supporter or BJP supporter here. I'm only saying that they have done a host of activity over here, and they may fail. Everybody fails. Okay, even I failed. Even Ramki would have failed. Even Dr. Manoj or even Dr. Balachandar, everybody would have failed in their life. Everybody is not first-time success years. So, but a step is kept, which means awareness has come into the minds of bureaucrats that yaar हमारे बच्चों का हालत आजकल खराब है. That awareness has come into their mind. That is enough. That the mindset, the awareness that the children of today and tomorrow are not having good education is good enough. Things will change drastically. That's something which I would like to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have somebody else wants to come in here? Any feedback or?
Just Balachandar from Dhaka. Sorry, I couldn't make a note of things when you have been talking about. I couldn't do it quickly as possible. I don't know. You have been rushing at the last few moments. I wish Dr. Manoj will be sharing your PPTs if you can allow him to do that.
I will do share.
That's a request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I think Alok sir,
Hello, Jaswant sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, how do you find this our premier institutions like IITs and IIM doing as far as this new concept or new education is concerned? How do you see?
Sir, I think they're also left behind is what that's my personal thought. I'm not an expert in this, but that's my personal thought. I think they're also left behind in terms of today's aspect. If you talk about digital technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, they could be far ahead with other institutes across our country. But with respect to future aspect of our of education, I think they also could be little fairly behind, and we may look at in fact they also need to grow up to the level of whatever they also need to do. For example, that's why if you see in the national education policy, there is something called Meru which is coming. They're going to conceptualize Meru Meru, and they're going to come up with a couple of institutes like IIT, which will also work on liberal arts and other aspects of it. So it is not only people like Jindal or Ashoka University or Kriya University which is coming up with liberal arts. Even government for that matter is coming up with something called Meru, which is something to do with education for liberal arts and other things. So I think slowly IITs and IIMs will also catch up with such kind of liberal arts to make sure the 9 intelligence of Mark Whittle is acquired in any kind of a teaching. That's very, very important is what I'm trying to say.
Sir, to add up with, actually, we have an option of taking an open elective for the students of all the departments, and it is compulsory to take up 4 open electives, which can be either of this. It can be linguistic, as you have told, linguistic, or it can be a nature-based subject, or a musical subject, or any logical-based subject, or a yoga, or whatever it is. And there is a long list of open elective courses which are offered. It is a compulsory. They have to select 4 from for their during their curriculum, and we have already started up in that, and hope that will be the initial point of start of what you told to happen in the future.
Yeah, it's going to evolve that way, sir. Definitely, it's going to evolve that way. That's going to be the future.
Dr. Manoj, can I chip in with a small suggestion?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So thanks, Jaswant, for this enlightening and insightful presentation. And for all the participants, please don't see just today's session as a standalone. In fact, try to correlate with what important concepts that you were exposed to in Jaswant's session with whatever we learned earlier. For example, as he was saying, I was also preparing notes. So he spoke about the 3 different disciplines: interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and multidisciplinary. See if L0 tool or L0 to L1 tool can help, because these 3 disciplines are nothing but connecting the different dots. Correct. Which definitely you can be able to see if you prepare as a team the L0 of a curriculum or L0 of a subject. He also spoke about persona. It's like the persona tool that we spoke about, as well as he spoke about different learning styles, which I kind of spoke about in yesterday's session. And different learning styles will suit to different set of students. So again, listening, dialogue, observation with the students, understanding a persona will definitely help. And of course, the fundamental question he asked somewhere at the start: who is your customer? So having a big stakeholder or mapping all the stakeholders together to see whether academic is able to cater to everyone is also very, very important. So humble request, see today's session in conjunction and in application to all the tools that we hosted. It will create wonders.
So true. So truly, Comrade Ramnath. Just want to add here, I think who is in place of that, what I would say, who is our stakeholder? That would be better, because if we focus too much on customer, because we are facing in the private sector,
absolutely,
we are too concerned about customer that we forget very important stakeholder, that is our staff and all other. They get so much inconvenience to those just because they think that only the customer has to be taken care, because they don't know they are us only. So that kind of encouragement should be given to the thought. Focus on the stakeholders, including customers. Yes. Customers are one of the stakeholders. Others are, even if not more, are equally important. And secondly, your question about IIT and IIM. I am from IIT Delhi, PG, PhD from there. Still, I could see that they are very concentrated in technical education. They have not provided the wholesome experience which we are looking for. And the new policy, if you say, encourages that kind, that we should go beyond IITs and IIM. IIT should also open up their arms, create some courses beyond engineering and our core thing. That is the reason when we have to grow, we have to grow in completeness. You cannot say I am very technical and that my soft skills are not up to that. I cannot work in a team. You can't say that kind of argument. So to get a complete package, I think IITs have also taken that thing, and by the kind of autonomy they have in their hand, I think they are also moving in that direction, though the pace is not the way we are expecting. But with this new policies coming in place, now they will be forced to do that.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you. And if you have any closing comment, or shall I formally close, I would request sir, if you can just do anything to reply and share the PDF of your PPT with us, because somehow we have to move, accelerate faster, so we could not cope up with your pace many times. So better to share this detail with us.
I will.
That will be too nice of you.
Definitely, I'll do that.
Thank you so much. And it's an honor to have you here, sir. And the kind of spark you have in while you speak, we can see that. And we want our student to be like that. But I know it comes after 10 years of corporate experience only. But we promise you, we at least get 10% of spark in our student. That is our aim. That should be our aim. Thank you once again for accepting our request to being our guest here.
I'm honored to be part of this, forum. So I again thank, School of Design Thinking for making me part of their family. So it's more than an honor to me, actually speaking. So thank you, Ramki and Ramnath. And of course, I'm so glad to be in front of an august audience, which is the faculties from across India. So I'm truly honored on that front. So you've got a higher responsibility than all of us, in fact. So I'm sure all of you are doing a very great job in giving out people to corporates like us with a full-fledged knowledge in their brains and heart as well. So thank you so much again, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You can all get connected on LinkedIn. If you want to get connected to me on LinkedIn,
yes.
you can definitely get connected.
We'll do that. I would request Ramnath to share your detail with all of us. We'll do that.
Sure. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for the participant, we will be meeting again at 2:25 to start our session at 2:30.
Thanks
for joining in. Thank you.